Hi friends, welcome back to the Daily Bible Project podcast. We're in season 2, episode 142 of our journey through the book of Genesis, but overall we're in episode 210 of this amazing journey together through the whole Bible, chapter by chapter, verse by verse. Now, if you've just dropped in here today, maybe for the first time, I'd recommend you go right back to the start, either through YouTube or through the podcast link itself. And why not make the Bible part of the daily rhythm of your life and join us on this journey from the beginning as we work together, Lord willing, through the whole Bible. So we've reached a new part today, and we're covering the second half of Genesis chapter 18. And I've called today's little talk, if you like, Why doesn't God judge the world today? And over the next few days, we're going to be looking at the second half of Genesis chapter 18 from verses 16 to 33. You can't help approach this passage of scripture without considering the fact that the world is a very wicked place. People do not fear God anymore. People, even our leaders, often seem to be behaving nowadays without any fear of accountability. Some want to eliminate God altogether in the public life of their countries. Terrorism and ethnic violence is widespread, and life is no longer considered sacred. But maybe we should not be surprised that when people eliminate God, life becomes cheap, because people no longer consider that we are made in the image of God. Shooting and knife attacks are becoming a common occurrence, even here in the United Kingdom, occurring in most of our major cities now regularly. I could say more about violence against women, child neglect, abuse, or even infant murder. Pornography is now a worldwide multi-million-pound business. And what about stealing and criminal activity? And I'm not just talking about robbers stealing from people or from organizations, but employees stealing from their employers, and white-collar workers stealing from their shareholders or even their pension fund stakeholders. The list seems to go on and on. Lying, envy, covetousness, materialism, consumerism, these are the things that are the religions of most people today. Now, if you know anything about the Bible, I believe you can't help but ask the question, if things are this bad, why doesn't God judge the world today? If things have got so wicked, why doesn't he do something about it? What prevents him from judging the world right now? Years ago, I heard someone sarcastically say, you know what, if God doesn't judge the world by the way it's behaving today, then maybe he should go back and apologize to all those people in the Old Testament. Now, that's probably a little bit strong, but what I want to say today and over the next few episodes is to try and answer the question of why doesn't God judge the world right now, today? What's preventing him from doing that? Now, I believe there are huge ramifications to asking that questions, but I also believe that a great many answers can be found here in the second half of Genesis chapter 18. As you may recall, in the first part of this chapter, which we've visited together over the last, it must be nearly half a dozen episodes or so, we saw these three men appear before Abraham, and one of them we discovered was in fact the pre-incarnate Christ, and the other two were angels. But let's just pick up the chapter in verse 16, where the narrative continues, and we're told this. When the men got up to leave, they looked down towards Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. Then the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations on earth will be blessed through him. For I have chosen him, so that he will direct his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord, by doing what is right and just, so that the Lord will bring about for Abraham what he has promised for him." The Lord said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know. Now, I'm just going to pause here, but we're going to look at the rest of the chapter as well as these verses as we progress together over the next few days. You see, in the first half of this chapter 18, that is where the Lord gave his intentions of what his plans were concerning Abraham. In the second half, he will signal his intention, what his plans are with the city of Sodom. Then so we're going to look at these opening verses that we've looked at today, but then in verse 22, we'll also see Abraham's reaction to that disclosure of God in what amounts to basically an intercessory prayer on behalf of the city. But first, what I'm going to do is go over these first verses 16 to 21, the ones I've just read, and we're going to pick up together and look at the text from verse 16. But we'll begin that process in the next episode. So thanks for joining me. Quick reminder, there's always a transcript of every single one of these individual podcasts available in the episode note page of any audio version of the podcast. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the Daily Bible Project podcast, and I'll see you back here very soon, I trust. Bye-bye for now.